You already filming?
Yeah, we are.
Hello. Hi, Edward.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Edward Daniel, and welcome to EthiVegan. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Gabriela Lerner. Gabriela Lerner is author of Food Heroes and also does Raw Love Awakening. Isn't that amazing? And we're here in Raw Fest 2017. What's it like for you?
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you did, at one stage you were wondering, why am I here?
Well, I knew I was here to give talks.
Yeah.
And I knew that, because originally I actually thought, I'm going to just stay in a B&B and come in and do the talks. And then I thought, no, I want to be part of it. And the amazing thing for me personally was that, suddenly I realized this was about as much about me being here for myself
as for other people
than it was for me being here for other people.
Exactly.
And to be just in this family, doesn't it feel like it's family?
It feels like family. It feels like today I had been manifesting. I saw your image on screen, and I was seeing on a Facebook post, and I was thinking, this person, I have a connection with this person and I need to meet this person. And then you were at the talk the other day and I thought, we haven't met, but somehow it's going to manifest over this weekend. And this morning, how did it happen?
Well, we both were called to the right place, weren't we? So that we would meet.
It was, because you were thinking, I need to go to the healing section.
Yes.
And then we spoke this morning, so it's absolutely amazing. Now, you're doing a couple of talks here, aren't you?
Yeah, I did one yesterday where I introduced my 6 prayers of Raw Love Awakening.
And what exactly is that?
Well, I looked at, so prayers to me, I'm not thinking about prayers in terms of religious prayers, not a formal prayer. More like something that we state that is already in us or here as reality, so that we can really feel and experience it and from there expand it. So the 6 prayers are the prayer of health, of food, of movement, of presence, of freedom and of love. And each prayer...
So which one? The food of...
prayer of health.
And what does that mean?
I do a whole 1-hour talk around this and a 6-month program. So let me share with you the prayer of health.
Okay.
I appreciate and give thanks to health. I choose every day to nurture my body, mind and spirit. I am healthy. I live health. So that's the prayer of health.
And so is it very much a positive affirmation then?
Yes, it is a little bit like that. But in my work, when I work in my coaching programs or I run retreats, so I take people away for 7 days to go to amazing locations and really every day involve themselves deeply into one of these prayers. And I see it more as a prayer. It's like we're putting it out into the universe. You think about health. People often don't think about health unless they don't have, until they don't have it anymore. And then they focus very much on getting rid of what they have, the illness, the condition, the pain. But they don't tend to focus on health. So my prayer wants to invoke the sense that there's always health in us. Even if we're in pain, there's something that's healthy, because otherwise we wouldn't be alive, right?
Of course.
So when we use this prayer to feel that bit inside of us that's healthy, then we can actually expand from there, because what we focus on expands.
Exactly.
What we resist persists. So if we resist the illness, it's just going to create more of it.
Yes.
So that's just the prayer of health. And then the prayers are all kind of very similar, but they always look at that bit that's already there. So right at the end is the prayer of love, which to me just brings it all together. And again, it's I appreciate and give thanks to the love, and I enjoy that there is always love somewhere in the world at any given point in time. And it's a reality, right? So sometimes we're so bombarded by all these negative news and everything that's going wrong in the world, and we think it's a rotten place, but actually there is always love. And sometimes we don't feel it, but when we hone in onto the bits where there is the love, and that could just be something small, like looking at a bird, or look at these amazing canopies, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then feel the love of those trees.
And the beauty of it all, really.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
And once you get that, then you can see it as something that's already there, and it's easier to expand from something that already exists than coming from a place where you're trying to create the opposite of what you don't want because of that law of attraction thingy.
Right. Now,
does that make any sense?
It makes actually perfect sense, and I love how you've actually got all these different prayers for all these different things like health and love.
Yeah.
That's just so vital in this era. Now, you also speak about the connection between raw food and spirituality. Do you want to? What's that all about?
Yes, I think so. How I feel about it and how I think about it is that I have, when I started raw food, so let's go a little bit back if we have the time to do this. But I suffered from fibromyalgia for over 20 years. So I had chronic pain, irritable bowel syndrome, hypoglycemia, and irritable anything syndrome.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
That sounds really a mouthful.
Okay,
doesn't it? Yeah.
so just think about it. I'm here, I'm camping, I'm giving talks, I'm going off to Tobago in 2 months to do a retreat on my own. I used to be the person that my husband had to take by the hand to get through an airport because I couldn't cope with it. That's how ill I was. I often couldn't speak, I often couldn't talk.
But you're very vocal today.
Sorry.
No, it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. No, I'm sorry I'm making you laugh.
People do say I do talk rather a lot.
But it's very entertaining. So yes.
So when and I was a heavy meat eater. I thought I needed the protein to keep myself going. I had to eat every 2 hours because if I didn't eat, my blood sugar would go and I'd just be a zombie, literally. And so then in 2011, my husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer and he decided to heal himself. It's another long story, I won't tell it, but in this we came across raw food. And while I resisted it for a little while, I didn't think it was the right thing to do. How can it be good for you to just eat fruit and vegetable, right? But I went along with him and I supported him and we together learned. And within 6 months, I was literally symptom-free. So that was an awakening in itself. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to have to teach this to people. I'm going to write a book with raw food recipes.
This is the book.
And I've got to tell people. So I trained and I started teaching people about how to make raw food. And in all this energy that was created, this high vibration that we get through raw food, I realized that I was actually a bit left in space. I kind of felt I needed something, and I had been looking for a form of spirituality for many, many years. I was brought up a Catholic, didn't like the church, but I knew there was something that was connecting. And then I kind of just went onto this journey to find my spirituality that worked for me. Because when you do high raw food, so let's say 80% plus raw food, you will have an enormous amount of energy. Your vibration will go high. And if we don't know how to channel that vibration, then it can actually be a bit disturbing or unsettling.
Ungrounding, really.
Yeah,
yes.
Unsettling. I felt a bit like, where am I? And I was often on this kind of hyper energy. So people have seen me in talks 4 years ago, and they come back to my talks and they say, you feel different, and it's because I'm more I'm more grounded. And so for me, the prayers were a way of how they were kind of the steps that I took to go onto this raw food journey and have a spiritual awakening or experience or whatever that means, so that we can connect with Source, so that we can hear what our higher self tries to tell us.
Now, the higher self also gives us messages, doesn't it? And it is about, I think for me, certainly it's about listening to that message that comes through. I think that's really important. You told me there was a scenario that you had, wasn't it, that involved your rap. What do you want to...
Well, this is just a little thing.
It's just a little thing, isn't it? But it's a story. But it happens to me all the time.
Yes, I mean, I drove up on Friday afternoon. I went off to the Raw Fest. You know, I had all my camping gear packed. The car was full. I was a little bit late. I drove off, and about 2 minutes into my journey, I suddenly had this thought. Wrap. You haven't got something to wrap. I have a beautiful kind of shawl type wrap that I normally take everywhere. I mean, even to the Caribbean where it's hot and I never need it, because it's kind of my
comfort blanket.
My comfort blanket. That's right. And I didn't have it. And I thought, am I going to turn around? And I thought, I don't know, I can't be bothered. I'll just carry on. So I ignored that voice because it would have been really easy for me to just go back. I was literally just up the road from where I live. And of course, I arrive here, and at every corner, I feel like I'm missing my rap. I should have listened.
But that's the thing. I think that's really important. That when we have an inner feeling and an inner knowing, it's about actually bringing attention and awareness to that, and just saying, actually, there is a reason for this. I should have perhaps listened, and then it's too late to listen. And it's just like, okay, now the lesson's learnt, isn't it? Almost like that.
Yeah, but I teach through my prayers. So every prayer. So when I do programs with people, either in my retreats or I do an online program, I give people tiny little things that they can do on a daily basis that don't take much time. And sometimes it's just like a one breath exercise or that help people pay attention. You just mentioned the word awareness. And I think it's all about, and listening, you said, you know, and it's those two things. We need to be paying attention so that we can listen. We can listen to our higher self. We can listen to our bodies as well, what they tell us. You know, we look at that kind of like croissant or what it is, full with sugar, and the body says, I don't think that's going to be so good to you. And the brain says, how about I want it, you know. So which one are you listening to? And I always say there's 3 stages: awareness, choice, and change. Through awareness, we realize the choices we have, and then we can make a choice from that awareness, and that choice will lead to change. And there is no right or wrong choice, but there might be choices that, let's say, that serve your well-being better than others. But even if you take the not so healthy choice or the not so serving choice, it will still lead you to the same place, just maybe with a little detour.
So that's amazing. That's brilliant. Now, what's your plan for the future then, Gabrielle? What's next? Now, you're talking about a book. You've got this message that you need to write a book. How does that feel for you? How does that resonate for you?
Well, it resonates very strongly. Like I said to you this morning when we met, you know, 5 out of 7 mornings I wake up and it just says book. And you know, I wrote a recipe book. I write a blog. I do little inspirational videos on YouTube. I'm just starting a podcast. I like to share my message, but writing a book feels a little bit scary to me right now, because I'm not I'm good at talking, but not so good at writing it down, you know.
Okay.
So I have to find, I feel I'm going to find a way of how I can do this. And it's going to happen, I think.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's taken me almost 4 years to write my book.
Yes,
and
yeah.
for me, it was about actually allowing spirit to come in and you know, I would write something and then put it down.
Yes. Yeah.
And then put it down for months and then come back to it.
Yes.
And it was just a way of just allowing things to flow naturally.
Yeah. And actually, I do already have a lot that's already written down, but it's just taking that kind of focus, perhaps. But I do feel, similar to what you say, there is a right time for it. And, you know, the law of attraction, I mean, Abraham Hicks, you know, I recently heard them say, when you take action on something that you're envisioning, that you're being told to do too early, you're going to find it's not going easily. So there is a right time for it, and sometimes the vibration just has to build up. So I know there is a book, and when it's ready to manifest, it will manifest.
And it will manifest at the time of the right alignment for you, really.
Yes, because I think as light workers, you know, which I think we are, as change makers. Well, you know, yes. Not in a warlike way, but in a kind of...
In a love way.
We're kind
love
of...
warriors.
We're here to help others join us in this journey. It's a movement, isn't it? And so, as light workers, we always feel we want to get it out now. People need it now. But really, there is no time. You know, we're just all kind of so obsessed with this idea of time, and it's got to happen now, and it's got to happen quickly. So to me, the book will need its time. But what's next is really that I really want to get my retreats more off the ground, so to speak, because you've got to see this is how I started. So my retreats that I've been running in the last few years were all about teaching people how to do raw food. Suddenly I'm going to this, you know, the Raw Love Awakening. And it's new, and some people who have been following me for years suddenly think, what's she on about? I want to have the recipes. I don't want to hear about love and presence and awareness. And so it's like, it's a shift that's happening that's actually put some people off, and they're obviously not ready for it.
Of course,
yet, you know?
But they'll be ready at the right time.
So I'm finding a new tribe almost. Yeah. So that's really, I think, where I'm going next, is connecting with those people who are ready to hear what I have to share, what we have to share, so that we can build this movement, you know. And to me, raw veganism, I don't think everybody has to be...
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, raw vegans doesn't have to. We've got some people just walking into the camera, but never mind, it doesn't matter really. Gabriella,
So raw veganism to me is the foundation. I don't think everybody has to be 100% raw. I'm 95% raw, and you can actually manage your energy level and this vibrational level with the amount of cooked food you add to it. But you know, healthy veganism that isn't vegan junk food, but is actually real food made from real ingredients.
And whole foods as well.
Whole foods, yes.
And also a variety, you know. There's such
the
versatility.
colours of the rainbow,
exactly,
right?
There's such versatility from seaweed to nuts, you know, to seeds and
mushrooms, edible flowers, you know, greens. I mean, greens are so important, and so many people don't eat enough of the greens. They have all the phytonutrients that we need. They have all the iron, the protein. It's all in there. So, you know, I think it is a foundation, and raw food will always be kind of my starting point with people, helping them to just eat vegan with a large amount of raw, and as much raw as they feel they need to deepen their own journey, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And then bring that all together, because they're not separate things. Just like you and I, we're not separate things.
We're not. We're all
right?
connected. It's all oneness, really. So I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think it's bye from me, and it's bye from Gabriella. Thank you so much for giving us insight today.
Well, Edward, I'm just really delighted that I ran into you this morning. You know, that spirit brought us together, and that you've invited me to this interview. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and I think we'll connect more,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's the right time.
Right.
So there we go. Okay, so goodbye. Bye-bye from me.
Bye-bye.
Bye from Gabriella. Bye-bye.
Bye.